This area looked like a desert 4 years ago. At the time, Cape Town faced the most severe drought in its history, and the Waterskloof Dam was dry. Today, city water stocks are close to their maximum capacity. But behind these mountains in the city's biggest and poorest township of Khayelitsha, water is still a scarce commodity. Shadrach Mogres is stocking up in preparation for the next water cut. He always keeps this 100-liter drum full in case the tap runs dry.
It is actually worse. It is worse now because we knew at that time that we're sitting with a problem here, with a water problem. But it is actually worse than that because we do have water and we know that. We do have water, but it happens worse than it happened when there was a drought.
We've got no choice but to wake up in the morning and try to fill your buckets as much as you can.
The township is home to hundreds of thousands of people. Every week, their number grows with new arrivals from the countryside looking for a better life in Cape Town. The city says it's simply too difficult to keep up with the constant influx.
During the period of COVID-19, at least 70 new illegal informal settlements had been erected across our city in the space of a few months. 70 new illegal informal settlements. And the city then is expected to provide basic services to those settlements, which is difficult to do.
But internal migration is only partly the issue, according to Professor Joe Barnes, a community health expert at the University of Stellenbosch.
Part of that is outside the control of the city, but this has been going on for the last 30 years, and I have actually seen very little forward planning to cope with these people. It seems to me, and I hope I'm not attributing something to them, but it seems to me as if they thought if they just leave it alone and let them settle where they were and it is unpleasant, that they will go back.
Aging infrastructure and an increase in droughts expected over climate change will put a lot of pressure on future water supply in Cape Town.
Kenya's deputy president has taken a swipe at his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, over his decision to support the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Ruto has accused Kenyatta over his economic policies, claiming Kenya was heading in the wrong direction and that he will fix the mess within 30 days after being elected into office. The statement was in relation to the current Kenya's public debt that has risen by $61.32 billion from nearly $17 billion since Kenyatta assumed office in 2013. Ruto was also declared as a presidential candidate to his new outfit, the United Democratic Alliance Party, on Tuesday during a national delegation that brought in more than 5,000 delegates across the country. Ruto has also accused Kenyatta of failing to honor his 2017 election promise and using state institutions to persecute political opponents. Ruto's fallout with Kenyatta began when, in 2018, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga made a peace truce, popularly known as the handshake, with the current president. The handshake sparked speculation the two men had made a pact that will see Odinga succeed Kenyatta, a two-term president who cannot run a third time.
Nigeria's consumer price inflation rose in February after recording a fall in January, as Africa's most populous nation faces fuel shortages that have helped push prices higher. The country's statistics office announced on Tuesday that the rate of price increase between February 2021 and February 2022 was 15.70%, higher than 15.60% recorded in January. According to the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS), the rise in the food index was caused by increases in price of bread and cereals, food products, potatoes, yam and other tubers, oils and fats and fruits. Nigeria has faced fuel shortages since February after importing substandard fuel, resulting in weeks of severe scarcity and long queues at filling stations. The shortage has seen transport costs rise, thereby affecting goods and commodities. Prices are expected to rise further amid a global shortage made worse by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Somalia has failed to meet the deadline to complete elections for the lower house of parliament, marking yet another delay in the electoral process that should lead to the appointment of a new president. The Somali government, which last month extended the deadline for completing the appointment of members of the lower house to March 15, had made no announcement by early evening Tuesday. On Tuesday, the federal states of Southwest and Galmudug concluded the election of their representatives, but 39 of the 275 seats in the lower house remain to be filled in 3 states: Jubaland, Eshabelle, Puntland, according to an AFP count based on official data. Somalia, the Horn of Africa country facing a 15-year insurgency by radical Islamist Al-Shabaab, has been waiting for more than a year to elect a new head of state. Under the country's complex electoral system, federal state assemblies and delegates choose legislators who then appoint the president. President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed, known as Farmajo, has been president since 2017 and his term expired on February 8, 2021, without having reached an agreement with regional leaders on the organization of elections.
Inspired by famous footballers and other African heroes, 27-year-old Teddy Kosoko creates video games with the aim of promoting the cultural richness of his native continent. We have countries in North Europe with Viking stories, in Asia, in South Korea, and in Japan with samurai stories. Thanks to the video games, people know these stories. So I thought, with all this cultural richness of Africa, the 54 countries, why don't I use these tales to tell the story of Africa? If you take the trailer video, the trailer, we traveled to Central Africa and we made a real film. We took real actors for 2 days. We shot in stadiums and we chose spots. Haunted with the negative stereotype of Africa, Kosoko wants to change that through video games. As Africans, we start with an historical disadvantage. There is a whole set of things to be deconstructed. We must teach young people to love themselves, to value themselves. There is a huge problem with this, and for us, that is the heart of our creations. We really want people to deconstruct the things that have been put in their heads, that they are not beautiful, that they are useless, that they are good for nothing, etc. Based in Toulouse, France, Kosoko outlines his latest creation, Golden George, whose main character is inspired by Liberian football legend and current President George Weah.